Hey everybody, I want to welcome you to the February Playing Talk, and I want to thank you guys for joining us tonight. And hopefully you guys are, a lot of you guys are not freezing like a lot of us are across the country. We're finally starting to get out of it a little bit, but the last couple of weeks at least last week, I know most of the country, including us, has been kind of under ice and under snow. And so hopefully you guys are able to get out a little bit now, or maybe think about getting out a little bit. But anyway, so thank you guys for joining us tonight. And my name's Tim Graves. Just for those that are new with us, I'm the co-founder of Graves Golf Academy. Started this actually 26 years ago now with my brother Todd Graves to teach the single plane swing across the country and to teach you guys how to get better at golf, across the world. So anyway, thanks for joining us tonight. Tonight is going to be a Q&A session. We got a bunch of great questions loaded up. We're going to go on these. And guys, I want to remind you guys, these questions come from you guys either emailing questions to us, from past webinars, even from some of the fast forward questions we get in, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. But we record this a few hours before it goes live. And the reason I say live, the reason we do that is because of technical issues. We can't sit there and put it out for you guys and have it break down in the middle of the program, and we have hundreds, if not thousands, of people watching us, and it goes down on us. Okay, so we record this a couple hours early. But I say that for this reason. There's a chat box that goes along with this, and we've opened that chat up for you guys, and it's great, and we love seeing that. Put questions in there because we monitor that chat. And those questions we use in future webinars. I know it's not tonight because we have to do it ahead of time. Again, I'm not apologizing for this, but for technical reasons, we've got to film it a couple hours in advance, okay? But put questions in there, put comments in there. That's what we look at. Chris, James, myself, the guys, they look at that and we pull those out and use it for Q&A sessions like tonight, okay? All right, so again, welcome, and let's talk about a little bit. I'm going to do the announcements tonight, the real early commercials, but these are good commercials tonight. These are good early announcements. First one is the talk about clubs. And we're calling it the early access right now, Quantum Clubs. And I'm going to throw this out. Most of the country, if not all of the country right now, is waiting for these things to be released the middle to end of February. We were told that we can put orders in now and they're going to be shipped out the middle to end of February. Well, guess what? Not for Graves Golf. I've actually been putting orders in now since the 1st of January, and a lot of my students, a lot of our members, a lot of our customers, in particular members, are already getting them. In fact, Mark Meets has already got them in hand, and this is a comment. He goes, I got the Quantum Fairy Woods on Saturday. I received the entire set. It was nice to get on the front line. Thank you. My first impression was my miss hit and my driver's 20 yards further. The OS irons look and feel great in the setup. I hit my solid 8 iron, usually goes 150, 170. I mean, obviously that's a very early testimonial from Mark, and maybe Mark is on the chat tonight. Maybe he can talk to you guys about it. I'm getting a lot of testimonials coming in. So the clubs are already being shipped out, and I know. And guys, here's the deal: all those people that are new to us, and if you don't trust me on this, which I'm gonna laugh at, look at the chat. I promise you, I'll have a lot of members, a lot of guys that buy clubs from me early in the year that'll be talking about them because they are going out. They're already in hand. Guys are already out there playing with them that they can get out of the nice weather. Thing I want to say about it right now, I still have introductory offers on them, and I still have great trade-in values on trade-in clubs with an additional bonus on it, okay? Don't miss your opportunity. Don't miss your opportunity, okay? Because guys, we got in early. Callaway does this for us. It's a supply versus demand, or if you want to call it a demand versus supply. As more trade-in clubs get turned in, the trade-in values tank. Okay, so they let us get in early. That's why our orders went in early. The orders are going out early. And the trade-in values are set at that time. At the second you put in your order, we set the trade-in value at that time. That's why James and myself are so busy this time of year. So you can trade in your club. You can send in your clubs 2, 3, 4 months from now. That's fine, and the trade-in values are held. And we want you to do that because we want you to hold the clubs in hand until you get your new ones. Okay, so you don't rush them in, but they're held. So you order the clubs, you hold the trade-in value, boom. So if you ordered your clubs on January 31st, the trade-in values of that day are hit with the bonus, are done and they're set. You can send in the clubs in March and they're still held. If you don't do it now and you wait a month or two, the trade-in values will tank. They do every year. You will lose 50, 60, 70% of your trade-in values, and the introductory offers will be gone. I'm telling you guys right now, if you guys trade in a set of clubs for a new set of clubs, I can save you $500, $600, $700, if not more, depending on what clubs you're setting in, if you do it right. Okay? So email me at timg@gravesgolf.com. timg@graysgolf.com, and we can talk about new clubs, trade-in clubs, the whole jazz. Don't be the one that doesn't do it. I'm getting hundreds a day. Send them in. Next announcement. All right, schools. Guys, we have release now through, and I'm going to look at Chris over here, through the end of June. Okay, and we just sent it out. Members just got it a couple days ago. They got the early release. We've now sent it to everybody. If you look at the schedule right now, you'll see there's a lot of sold out schools, and the ones that aren't sold out only have a couple spots left. Okay, so I'm going to show you the second page of this. So we'll flip it over to the next page, and you'll see. Okay, so if you see through June, there's schools on there through June. If you're interested in getting in, you can still get some early bird specials on the ones that are way out. You can get some special rates on them. Get in now. Get in. You can always call us and get in the schools. You can call 405-250-6960, or you can email me and I'll get you to the right person, okay? Don't miss your opportunity. We've already had our first school in Phoenix. Right now we have an ongoing school in Orlando. We're rocking through it. We saw 20 students last week. I think we have another 21 students this week. We're rolling. We're going. We're having a blast. Beautiful weather, great schools, blast at the schools, have some fun. Nothing better than hands-on instruction, I promise you. Nothing better than hands-on instruction, okay? The next announcement, and kind of the last one for tonight, is going to be over the, we got a special on some training aids tonight. And I'll throw this out real quick. I have a question that was brought up, and I'm going to talk about the single plane position trainer and go over that extensively tonight, and also a little bit about the Excalibur. We've got the Excalibur back in stock. The Excalibur is our #1 indoor short game training aid. We're going to talk about it a little bit tonight, okay? We haven't had it in stock for like 6 months, maybe even longer. It's just a hard item to make, import problems, issues, okay? They're coming back in stock actually. They're gonna be here the second week of February. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you and say they're in stock today. They're gonna be the second week of February. Okay, and Chris is saying the 17th of February, okay? He knows the date they're coming in. We're only getting 250 of them in for the first wave. We're gonna fill back orders first, and then we got lots of shit. We got some that we can ship out. Right now, if you wanna get in, 25% off those. There's a link below. You can get in. You can get a single plane position trainer 25% off, or the Excalibur 25% off. Single Plane Academy members, we have a special for you guys. It's 40% off both of them. If you want that link, email me at timg@graysgolf.com. Email me and I'll get you that link. Or you can watch a 10% show here in a couple nights and we'll have the link on there for you. So non-members, 25% off. You're not going to get a better deal than that. Members, Single Plane Academy members, 40% off. Another reason to become a Single Plane Academy member, okay? 25% off. Get in now. And they're in stock. Get them. Get a couple. Okay? I can't stress that enough. Okay? We'll talk a little bit later about them, okay? So that's the announcements for tonight. I want to get into a great Q&A session for tonight. And I'll get rolling on this. And again, I can't stress enough. Throw the chats in there, throw them in there. A lot of times I'm on there because, again, this was recorded earlier, a couple hours. Chris will be on there, James will be on there, Brad's on there, David's on there, my staff, Nick's on there, Shane's on there. I know these guys are in the chat, okay? And they can answer your questions, they can talk to you about it, and then we can also use those for future webinars for Q&A, okay? We love it, we love it. So don't miss out on that. All right, so Q&A tonight, and let's go over these. I think I have 7 or 8 questions tonight. There's a couple I'm going to spend some extra time on. So let's get the first one rolling real quick. First question, why do I shank the ball sometimes when I chip and I pitch, okay? And I'm going to tell you why this question came up. We have a fast forward training program going on right now. Yeah, I know a lot of you guys are in this. It's actually our winter training program. It's a 3-month training program that's full swing, short game, mental game, and fitness and flexibility. And last week I did a Zoom session. I think I had 40 or 50 people on there about indoor chipping. And the question was brought, why do I shank my chips and pitches? Which is a very common question, okay? So I wanted to bring this up, so I'm throwing it out tonight. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about the main reasons why you shank. And guys, it's very common for people. Now, I'm not going to say a shank isn't common, but there's 2 reasons why we shank a golf ball when we chip or we pitch. And it's actually the same as a full swing, but we'll talk about it in a smaller version. When you set up over, I'm going to go down the line view here, okay? When you set up over a chip, okay, we have a given distance to the golf ball. Now, I don't state that distance to the golf ball because it's going to vary for people depending on their size, their height, the club they're chipping with. And you're chipping with a 7-iron, 8-iron, 9-iron, a wedge, maybe a lob wedge. I mean, obviously, the longer the club, the further you're going to get from the golf ball, okay? The bigger the belly in front of you, the further you're going to get from the golf ball. A little bit taller, so you can get a little bit further from the golf ball, okay? And guys, if you want that, get in the Fast Forward program. I talk about that in depth. But you get away from the golf ball, okay? Now, the number one reason people shank it is because they get too close to the golf ball for their given body size. And what happens is getting too close to the golf ball doesn't allow the elbow to clear across the body. So when they set up, they're comfortable in this position, they take it back. Now they try to get that elbow to clear the body. They flex the knees down a little bit to make the hit, and the club gets pushed out, hits towards the heel, and they shank it. So the most simple one in the world is they get too close to the ball and they shank it, okay? And that seems pretty obvious. I mean, most people think I shank the ball because I'm too close to it. Well, in a chip, that's true, okay? So get away from the golf ball and chip so the elbow can clear the body. Now, here's the second reason. It's a little bit more exaggerated, probably what happens with most people. When you get a good distance of the ball, so distance, proximity to the ball isn't your issue, and you take the club back, we've got to move our hip and our shoulders back in the backswing. So the hip and the shoulders move back. Even on a short chip, the hip and shoulders both move back. Now, when I set that club down to make impact, my hips are moving forward and my trail shoulder is dropping to impact. When I move those hips back and the shoulder back in the backswing and the chip, that is getting me in a position that will allow that trail shoulder to now drop down and through the shot. So the trail shoulder drops down and through the shot. But what most people do, and the biggest mistake they make that will shank it or hit towards the heel of the club, is when they take the club back on a chip, they either don't move the hips at all or they don't move them enough. So they take the club back, the hips don't move. Now, or the lower body doesn't move. Now what happens is they try to make force and impact, the lower body opens up too much and the shoulder comes across. It doesn't go under, it goes across. And as that shoulder goes across, it pushes the club out. Because think about it, my shoulder's in this position. If I turn the hips and shoulders properly and I drop down, the shoulder goes back to that position, basically under, which hits the center of the club. But if my shoulder's in this position now, and I take it back without moving the hips, now I make impact, the shoulder pushes out or towards the golf ball. And if it pushes out or towards the golf ball, the club gets shoved out because you lose your distance. The club gets shoved out because the shoulder's pushing away and the club gets shoved out. And when that club gets shoved out, now you start hitting towards that heel or eventually a shank. But what you'll see when you're practicing is because of that movement typically rolls the toe over at impact. And sometimes will even hit the heel of the ball, hit the heel into the ground. So what happens on chipping when people aren't doing it properly or pitching is they'll pull a shot, pull a shot, pull a shot, shank a shot. And they'll come to me or they'll come to my staff and say, man, I'm doing 10 different things. I mean, I pull one, I shank one. Now, it's the same thing. Because think about it, if that shoulder pulls out or pulls across, that rolls the toe over and now the club is pulled. Okay, and it's pulled. So the reasons why you shank chips and pitches is number one, proximity to the ball. Got to get away from the ball. Especially as we get older, we get bigger chests, we get bigger bellies or whatever it is, and we're not moving as well. Got to get away from that ball. Don't be watching TV golf and watch these guys with 28-inch waists that stand on top of the golf ball and move all over the place. Don't be mimicking them. We're not like that, okay? We got to get distance to the golf ball and a chip, and that's good. The second one is we've got to train the hip and body, the movement, to allow the shoulder to drop under and get back to the original position, slightly below it. Not stop. If you limit that movement, don't have movement, now the shoulder gets pushed out. And when it goes out, the club gets pushed away. We start hitting towards the heel and eventually a shank. Okay? So, and guys, I'm going to tell you right now, if you want some really in-depth information on that, and guys, that's why we do the Fast Forward program. Because, yes, that was one of the many questions we had in the Fast Forward training program. But then Chris is in there the next week talking about flexibility and exercises to help you get those hips moving right. Todd's in there talking about how that relates to the full swing, because guys, it's the same movement in the full swing, okay? And then Paul's in there talking about how you can mentally practice that, okay? And help physically practice that right, okay? So anyway, I mean, I know that was a little plug for the Fast Forward, but can't stress that enough. If you're not in the program, remember, all level 4 and 5 single point academy members are in the program. Level 3, you upped your membership for a year, you're in the program. If you're not in the program, if you're not getting our fast forward information, which is coming out every single day for 3 months, it's just a little bitty video clips coming out every day, and they're awesome. They're 5, 10, 15 minutes max. Most are 5 or 10 minutes, little stuff to review every day. Then we have a Zoom session once a week. If you're not in that program, email me at timg@graysgolf.com. I'll get you the right people. We'll get you in, okay? Seriously, it's what we're doing now to the middle of March. You need to get in that. All right, let's go over the next question. Okay, if you had to pick one drill to do over the winter, and inside drill, what would it be? Full swing and short game, okay? Okay, here's the, let's talk about the short game first. The first one I would do short game is the Excalibur. Guys, I can't stress enough how critical this Excalibur is to do a short game drill. And I know people, it's so funny how guys will come to me or ladies will come to me and say, I've got a pretty good game. I shoot in the mid 80s to maybe 90. I play decent golf, which is okay golf. And, but I'm a good putter. And I'm like, it's hard to put that together. The Excalibur, the short game drill with the Excalibur, when you set it down and you do it properly, does so many things for you, okay? And number one, I'm not going to go over the Excalibur tonight because we've done it so many times, but there's 5 core fundamentals to putting that are all built into the Excalibur. From getting the eyes over the ball to keeping still through the putt to getting your hands leading, they're all built into the Excalibur. But the biggest thing I'm going to tell you guys right now about the Excalibur, and I'm going to bring this up, is that this dramatically helps you make those short putts, those 3-footers, 5-footers, 4-footers, 5-footers, the scoring putts, the ones that you leg up and you got to make a 3-footer to save par, the ones you chip it up and you got to make a 5-footer to save par, whatever it is, or you hit a great shot in there and you got a 6 or 7-footer for birdie, and you want to make some of those. This helps you dramatically. And the thing we see, the people that have difficulty using the Excalibur, is because they de-accelerate in the putt. So if you're using, that's the little trick of the trade I'm going to give you tonight. If you get the Excalibur and you work on it, which I cannot stress how critical this is, if you work on that and you're hitting putts and they're coming off and they're going down the middle and they're doing a good job like that down the middle of the Excalibur, okay, the chances are you're accelerating and you're doing a good job. If you get over the Excalibur and you're hitting these nice short putts, we take a throw hole, we put it on the end of it, okay, about a foot past it, and now we try to make a putt. And you sit here and you're doing this, it's coming off the edge, and it's doing that routinely, there's a high likelihood you're de-accelerating. Okay, that's hoping that you get your eyes over the ball, you got your hands in good position, you're leading with shaft lean, okay? And that's pretty simple. Hopefully it's simple. But if you have a hard time, and people call this the devil's sword because they think it's so hard, you're de-accelerating. So what I want you to do is get this Excalibur, and I want you to get up over it, and I want you to work on it, and all I want you to do is make sure your backstroke is shorter than your through stroke, okay? That's all I want you to do. And then you'll start just like that. You'll start getting them off the end, and maybe they just won't quite go off the end perfectly, but they'll get closer to go off the end. And then work on that again. Make sure that backstroke is shorter than that through stroke, okay? And do it again, and do it again, and do it again. And keep doing it until you can get it where it goes right off the end. Okay? That's what I want you guys to do on this, okay? Guys, this is phenomenal indoor training. Phenomenal indoor training. Guys, this is what I want you guys working on. When you use the Excalibur, it teaches acceleration. That acceleration then goes into chipping, into pitching, into your full swing, into every part of the game. You got to create acceleration to create spin on chips. You got to create acceleration to create spin on pitches. You got to create, okay, guys. That is the game. Okay, use the indoor training Excalibur. That's it. I cannot stress enough. If you're not using it, you're behind the 8 ball. Okay. Now I've talked about that a lot, but I want to go over tonight a little bit more. Let's talk about the single plane position trainer. Okay. And the single plane position trainer we created years ago. In fact, we used to use just a plain piece of PVC and do it, but the PVC was too big. It didn't have a lot of the markings on it that we wanted. People got kind of sloppy with it, so we created the single plane position trainer. And this is the single plane position trainer. Now, hopefully you guys got it in hand. If you don't, get it, okay? And what it is it's actually a 2-piece deal. It comes apart so you can travel with it, but it has our training grip on there. And it's the length of a 6-iron. So if I take a 6-iron out and I put it right next to it, you'll see it's exactly the same length as a 6-iron for the average person. Now, For a really tall person, it might be the average length of a 7-iron. For a shorter person, it might be the average length of a 5-iron, but it's good, okay? So it's the length of basically a 6-iron. Now, you'll see there's some black tape on this, there's some markings on this, and then we got a given length, and we got the extension on it. Now, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to set up a single plane position trainer setup, and I'm going to talk about a couple common faults that we see in this, okay? So I'm going to, right now, get your alignment and ball position trainer. Get your ABT out. Set it up. Okay? I'm also going to take a yardstick, and this is critical. And I'm going to set a yardstick under iron ball position. Okay? So I'm going to set this under here and set it up. Okay? Now, what I did on this is I set this so I can stand at 26 inches from the golf ball with this when I put a golf ball at the end of it. So right now I can stand at 26 inches because guys, remember, a 6-iron is 26 inches in distance away from a 6-iron. So we can start practicing our distance. Now, I'm going to take a second ball. Okay, and I'm going to make sure these are on the screen. Guys, make sure we get these on the screen. So I'm going to take a second ball. Man, if I got to back up, what do I got to do? Okay, so make sure I got to put a ball here. I'm going to take a second ball. Okay, there we go. Got on the screen. Good. Okay, I didn't want to lose that screen. I have one a few inches behind it. Now, I go the length of the trainer back and 1 foot in. Make sure I get this all on the screen here. We on the screen? Good. Okay. We're good. Okay. Now, I'm going to set up the width. I got the 6-iron width, and I got my feet set at 26 inches. Boom. 26 inches away. So I've now got the right width. I've got the right distance. Now, I'm going to take the single plane position trainer. I'm going to set up. I'm going to point at that second ball, okay? And this is my setup position. And as I get in this position right now, this planer, the single plane position, will be touching my pivot point, okay? So it's not too low, it's not too high. It's set up. If you look down the line, you will see that this lines up with the bottom of my forearm. It's not below the forearm. It's not above it. It's the bottom of the forearm, and you will see from down the line, my lead arm is above my trail arm. All right. Now, I'm going to add a couple things to this, okay? I'm going to do this so you guys can see it on the camera. I'm going to take something, you can take a club, you can take another yardstick, and I'm basically going to angle it between these two golf balls. So the golf ball in the back and the one that's is the length of the trainer and 1 foot in, I've got that angled back on that. So you guys can see it on the camera. You can see that angle. Now what I'm going to do is I go from position 0. That's position 0. Touching my pivot point, okay? And when I look down at the single plane position trainer, okay, I look at the black tape right now. And when I look down at it, I basically can see the black tape and no white on the left-hand side. So just the black tape I see pretty clear. Now, I go to position 1, okay? I go to position 1. And when I look at position 1, this is what I'm looking at right now. The biggest check between 0 and 1 is the single plane position trainer is still touching the exact spot on my pivot point. And I'm going to say that again. I'm going to say it as clear as possible because this is the number one mistake we see with people who use a single plane position trainer. Is they go from 0 to 1 and this slides across their belly. So when you should be going 0 to 1 here and still touching the pivot point, they go 0 to 1 and it slides across their belly. So it's no longer touching that pivot point. So I suggest when you set up at position 0, touch this spot. Feel it. I don't care. Pinch it. Touch that spot where it's touching the pivot point. Touch it. Kind of pinch a little bit. Feel that. Okay? Now, when you go to position 1, it should still be on that same spot. Touching the same spot. A lot of times we see it break away from the body. Okay? And we know that's a problem. But the biggest issue we see is golfers that go to position 1 and it slides across their belly. Going to position 1 and keeping it on that pivot point shows you proper hip and shoulder movement. Listen to what I just said there. Proper hip and shoulder movement on the takeaway. And the number one error we get, and I just talked about in the last question, that we get is improper hip movement on the takeaway. It's just part of what we deal with. This is training proper hip and shoulder movement on the takeaway. So there's position 1. 0 to 1. 0 to 1. Now, we go from position 1 to position 2. In position 1 to position 2, we start folding the trail elbow. We cock and hinge the wrist, trail wrist. We start bringing the club up, and we go to position 2. Now, the hip and shoulders continue to move. Now, if you want numbers, 75% of the hip movement occurred from 0 to 1. Maybe 25% occurs to 2. And the reason I say there's really not a true number because it has to do with your flexibility. Some people are flexible enough you can get almost back to parallel. Some people are flexible enough you can get almost back to parallel. Most of us aren't. Okay? Mo, when he was younger, he'd get the club to parallel. Not when he was older. No way. So we're going to continue back as far back as we can get to position number 2, okay, where we're not breaking down the lead arm. Because what happens is you'll get to a certain part and that's about all you got. Now, I don't want you to bend that lead arm and take it further back. That's a third lever. That's a problem. We don't want to go there. So you go position 1. Now we go to position 2. Now, the way to check proper position 2 is this butt end will point at that yardstick or whatever you laid down. I put a yellow stick here between the 2 balls. So it'll point at that. If you are above it, that is too flat. If you are below it or towards the inside, that is too steep. So this is showing you, am I on plane? Is my club on plane? So position 0 to 1, 1 to 2, and it'll point on that line. Okay, now you go past it a little bit, point it at the golf ball. That'd be great. Most people, I'll be honest with you, can't get to that check position where they're pointing at that golf ball. That's pretty far back for them. They're not flexible enough. That's fine. You want to point on that line. If you can point to that golf ball, that's great. If you can't quite, I don't want you to try to get there and bend your lead arm to try to push that golf ball. Not necessary, okay? So now we're up in position 2. Now, from position 2, the first movement obviously is the lower body. Then we follow with the shoulders. But what you're looking at in the downswing is you come down and you're trying to get the elbow in front of the body and the hands back to the golf ball. And this single plane position trainer should line up with that stick or whatever you laid down again. It's not on top of it. You're lined up with it. Notice, it's not on the top of it. It's not over it. That's the over the top swing. So it comes down and lines up with that stick. That is showing you, and the way to do that is your trail elbow is dropping in front of the trail hip, and your trail shoulder is dropping down to get into that position. So a great drill, and you can call it the pump drill, whatever you want to call it, is go to position 1, position 2, and pump down trying to hit that position. Now, I'll give you down the line view. When you do that, it's going to feel tight to the body. It's going to feel tight to the body doing that right now because when you're doing it in a full swing, the hips are firing in front of you. It's giving you a little clearance to get that elbow in front of that hip. But you should be able to do it in static positions. If you're standing the proper distance of the ball, you get far enough away, you go to position 1, position 2, you should be able to get trail elbow in front of the hip. So it's not back here, it's in front of the hip. Club coming down the line, so in this butt end, we feel like you're pointing to right field for a righty, left field for lefty, but you're trying to match that stick, okay, on the ground. Push to position 3, now we go back to position 4, this comes back to your pivot point. Or, in theory, it could actually go a little bit in front of your pivot point if you led with the hands even better. That's okay. Go back to the pivot point. Now, guys, there's a lot more to the single plane position trainer. I didn't want to cover the whole webinar on this tonight. And there's more checkpoints in this trainer. They're on our line. If you go to gravesgolf.com, if you go to training aids, full swing training aids, if you look down below that, you'll see, and you click on it, you'll see all the full swing training aids. You'll see the single plane position trainer. It'll have a buy it here, but if you click on the name, videos will pop up on how to train with it. And you'll see videos pop up on how to train everything in there, okay? But in particular, single plane position trainer. But you can always do that. People always buy it and they complain. You can send directions because you guys will lose directions. They're always on our website, gravesgolf.com, full swing training aids or short game training aids, whatever you choose. Click on it, go and then scan down. You'll see all our training aids in there. And you'll see a place where you can click on to buy it. But if you click on the name of the training aid, videos will pop up and you can train. Okay, and that's what it's all about. But guys, this right here, the single plane position trainer, number 1, it really focuses on hitting proper positions, obviously. Number 2, guys, it's a little bit of flexibility training. If you're trying to hit these positions, and the reason I bring that up is I'm going to suggest when you work on this, guys, this is something to do all the time. This isn't just something to do over the winter. This is something to do all the time, okay? But when you do this, at first go position 1, position 2, position 3, position 4. Do it again. We're on 0. Position 1, position 2, position 3, position 4. Okay, do it step by step and check. Then eventually do it very slow and don't stop. Go position 1, position 2, position 3, position 4. Do it very slow. Then eventually speed it up. Then eventually you can go 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then speed up. Guys, do it step by step by step. Even when you do it slow, you'll stretch yourself out. You get in good positions. You can film it, send it to your coach. You can check it. Guys, we can't stress it enough. This is the nuts and bolts. And when you say, what's the number 1 indoor training for the full swing? There it is. So guys, if you sat here this winter and you did, maybe you're doing the fast forward program. Obviously, those are covered extensively in the fast forward training program. But you sat there and worked on the single plane position training. You worked on the Excalibur. You worked on the single plane position training. You worked on the Excalibur. I can't stress enough how big of an advantage you'll have in the spring when you come out. Huge, huge. Not only is it helping flexibility and movement, but man, you're making 3 and 4 and 5 foot putts. And all of a sudden you're hitting position 1. You're moving those hips properly. I mean, man, that's massive when you get out there, okay? So, long answer to that question. Those two, and that's why I had Chris. I knew that was coming in tonight, and Chris saw it. And he said, I'm going to set up a special for it. So guys, 25% off either one of those training aids. You have to buy them both. 25% off. I can't stress enough. We've got single plane position trainers. We've always had those, and we got a bunch of those in. Those are, get in. That Excalibur, they're hard to make, okay? And we finally got some more in. You'll see, if you get one, they're very detailed. They got levels on there. They've got the little green mat on there. They got mirrors on there. They're very detailed. And we finally got some more coming in on February 17th. They're going to blow out of here, I promise you. We've had a lot of people asking for them. So 25% off members. You can get 40% off. Email me. I'll send you a link. Or yeah, you can do that. Or you can wait till Thursday night, and we'll give you guys a link on the 10% show. All right. Let's go to the next question. How can I stop 3-putting so much next golf season? Is there anything I can do that can help now? Yeah. And I'll be honest with you guys. It's going to kind of sound like I always say, kind of a broken record, but 3-putting, or 3 putts. Number 1, there's 2 causes of 3 putts. Number 1 is poor legging and missing short putts. So, because think about it right now. You have a 40-foot putt and you hit it 10 feet by, 15 feet by, 10 feet short. Yeah, you're going to 3-putt because those are the odds of making that putt coming back are small. Okay. So number 1 is you've got to be hitting the center of your putter. Too many people, and new modern putters have big sweet spots, but still hitting it a 1/4 inch off the toe, a 1/4 inch off the heel, that's a massive issue. And if you're doing that, you can lose speed in the putt. And we talk about this all the time, but you hit one off the center of the putter, and then all of a sudden you hit one towards the toe and it doesn't get there, then you hit one towards the heel, doesn't get there. And your brain says, man, the green's a little bit slow. Then the next hole, when you hit in the center of the putter and it goes 10 feet by, that's a huge problem. So you've got to be working on hitting that middle of that putter, which is what the Excalibur does. If you're not hitting the middle of that putter on short putts, you ain't hitting the middle of the putter on long putts. That's number 1. Number 2 is acceleration. If you deaccelerate, the putter head will turn. And it will turn dramatically, especially if you hit towards the toe and the heel. You want the double ding? Is deaccelerate and hit slightly towards the toe and the heel. Even on face balanced putters, which I recommend, even on square to square putters, there's a slight twist in it. There always is. Okay? And with that, you're going to miss some short putts. So acceleration, work on the Excalibur, huge, huge. And hit the center of the putter face, work on the Excalibur, huge. And when you get outside, you don't want to work on the Excalibur, the string in the mirror. We'll talk about that as golf season comes, okay? So that's massive. That's how you stop 3-putting. And that's great work you can do over the winter. All right, next question. I don't hit my hybrids well. What are other options? Okay. Now, a hybrid-based club, okay, is obviously a iron replacement, okay, so it's a wider sole club. Now, there's 2 things to do if you don't hit them well. Number 1, we're just going to work on technique, okay? And guys, the next, here's another plug. I honestly didn't know this was on there. The first single plane university we're having that's going to be released, I think, April, the 15th of April. I can look at Chris here, but I think it's around the 15th of April. The very first one covers how to hit fairway woods and hybrids. It covers, and Todd talking about the technique and the issues behind fairways and hybrids. And I actually show you how to take them on the golf course and use fairways and hybrids and show you how to practice with your fairways and hybrids. But number one with hybrids is you've got to be hitting down, you've got to be making a divot. So right now, if you're out there practicing with hybrids, okay, and you got time to go practice, get out there and put tees in the ground, bury them in the ground, knock them out of the ground with the hybrids. Review, go back to on demand and review some of the hybrid drills. The second thing you can do, if you just say, I just can't figure this out, I can't figure this out, think about replacing your hybrids with fairway woods. You may want to do that. It's become very common. Here's why. Because they've made, now what's becoming in vogue, very popular now, and it wasn't a few years back, is the 7 woods, the 9 woods, the 11 woods, the heaven woods. These are very lofted fairway woods. Lofted fairway woods have a wider sole. That wider sole makes it more forgiving and more forgiving than a hybrid. So, for example, a 7 wood equals a 4 hybrid, which equals a 4 iron. So I'm going to say it again. 7 wood equals a 4 hybrid, which equals a 4 iron. 90% of golfers can't hit a 4 iron anymore. In fact, 95% of golfers can't hit 4 irons anymore. Or even, obviously 3 irons. They don't have enough speed, but they can hit 4 hybrids. But if you don't make a divot, or a pretty good divot, or a decent divot with that 4 hybrid, it's not going to be hit real well. So now all of a sudden a 7 wood, you can scrape it across the ground a little bit more because of the wider sole, and it'll go higher and hit much easier, okay? So the two things, if you're not hitting your hybrids well, obviously I'm going to suggest work on hitting them. Work on angles of attack down, work on making that divot, review our information on that. The second one, if you finally like, man, I just can't figure this out at all, start thinking about some longer fairway woods. I'm getting a lot of students that are doing that, and the general public's doing that. You're seeing it on tour. 15 years ago, 10 years ago, every tour player's bag had a 2 hybrid, a 3 hybrid in their bag. They all did. I mean, when Adams came out with their hybrids, now, and then now Callaway took over that, they all did. Now you're starting to see more pros may carry 1 hybrid and maybe 2 or 3 fairway woods in there. They'll have like a 5 wood, maybe a 7 wood or a 9 wood. Because guys, let's just be easy. It's just under pressure, just a little bit easier to hit at times. So that's what it is. So if you got issues on that, you can always email me. We can talk about your set and makeup. Guys, if you haven't done this, if you haven't contacted me and let me help build your bag, I'm not saying you have to buy clubs from me, but let me tell you what should be in your bag, from your drivers, your fairwoods, your hybrids, your irons, how many wedges you should carry. You're behind the 8 ball. This is what everybody has done or should be doing, okay? And we'll help you make sure they're set up for your single plane swing. All right, so the next question. All right, how often should you change or update your clubs? Great question. And this was actually brought about, actually, believe it or not, this was actually brought up in the last webinar. So a gentleman brought this in. Guys, here's what it comes down to. For drivers and fairway woods, but in particular drivers, it's every 2 to 3 generations, there's dramatic changes. And guys, that quantum, that's why they called it quantum this year. They called it the quantum leap. Okay, and you guys, I'm not going to go over that. You can go look at the videos on my website. You can see all about the quantum, But that Tri-Force that was made in that quantum is a big leap. Every 2 to 3 generations of drivers, every 3 to 4 irons, technology changes dramatically. Now, with AI technology that Callaway has implemented, now some other companies are trying to start implementing, it's pretty dramatic every year. The reason why so many people change clubs every year with us, because it's done by the thousands, and literally it is done by the thousands, is because we can trade in last year's products for such a high value and get you the new product out, and there's just a minimal, I say minimal difference in between there. I mean, minimal is different for different people. But right now, if you went and bought a full set of clubs, okay, full set of clubs, you want a brand new full set of clubs from the driver down through the wedges, for no matter what model you're talking about, Callaway, Titleist, Cleveland, TaylorMade, it's going to cost you $3,000 to $3,500. That's just what it is. For a good, high quality, fit to you with good, nice shafts that are set up that there's no excuse in the bag. Okay, $3,000, maybe $2,500 to $3,000. That's what for a full set. Now, you trade in last year's set for those, I can get $1,500 to $2,000 on last year's set. So all of a sudden you buy a brand new set for $3,000, you get $2,000 for last year's set, you got $1,000 difference. So you're paying that amount. If you do it every year, you're paying that, and you do it early, you're doing that every year. You're getting a brand new set of clubs, brand new set of clubs, brand new set of clubs, brand new set of clubs. If you don't do that, it hits so hard that in 2 years, it's going to cost you $2,500. You might get $500 for that trading set of clubs. And it hits that hard. It hits that hard. So you may be getting $400 for a driver right now to trade it in. In 6 months, you might get $150 for that driver to trade it in. That's how big a deal it is with trading products. So that's why when people, you hear us on this chat and these forums and you hear people talking about, how come we trade in clubs every year? Well, number one, they get the newest technology and get some beautiful clubs in their bag, okay? And I guarantee the newest technology that fits you perfect for you and your single plane swing. But number two, man, you trade in those clubs for such a high value, and then all of a sudden I'm not going to say, again, I'm going to say minimal, but for that price, you get new clubs every year. That's where this special we worked out for you guys. It's an amazing deal, okay? And we've done this for so many years. Now Callaway's actually sending their product out early to our guys. I've got students out there and members, Mark, a lot of you guys, who will have the Quantum product in hand a month and a half before anybody else in this world will have it besides the pros. Listen to me carefully. A month and a half earlier than everybody else. And it is fit to you and your single plane swing perfect. No excuses in that bag. You have the highest technology. You get it first. You got the highest trading values. That's what we do for you guys. All right, let's go to the next question. All right. You talk about shaft lean being so important. Can you describe shaft lean in the driver? It doesn't seem that there's a lot of shaft lean in the driver. Yeah. So, okay. So, and I'm going to take a driver here. I'm going to tee it up for you guys. Okay. And I'm actually going to set my AB teed up perfectly for a driver here. Try to keep this in the screen. Okay. All right. So, guys, when you look at the alignment ball position trainer, you got a driver ball position on it. Okay. And you put the yardstick under here. And I'm going to back this up because I got to be able to take a backswing. I'm looking at my video, guys, and they're going to sit there and yell at me. But I have to be able to take a backswing. And okay. So, okay. So, all right. So now I'm going to put this at the end of the yardstick, and I'm going to get 36 inches away from the driver. Okay. And this yardstick lines up on the inside of my heel. All right. Toes turned out slightly. Now I set up in a good position. Now, when I make impact, this is going to line up with my pivot point. Now notice, when I set up right now and I make impact, okay, my pivot point lines up. There is shaft lean and impact. It's about 2, 3, 4 degrees. I mean, again, depending on ball position, depending on if you put it back a little bit forward, but there's going to be a slight shaft lean when you set up, okay? So if you notice, that shaft lean when I set up is going to be matched at impact. And there is shaft lean, so you never have the hands behind the ball. So when I set up, look, and I can show you that. So if you go straight from this shoulder, okay, and now, if I'm lined, even with the slight lean back, that shoulder, look what that shoulder is compared to that ball. If I line up from the club head to this shoulder, there is still shaft lean in comparison to that golf ball, okay? I'm not behind the ball making impact. I'm making impact in this setup position, the single plane position, and when I take from the club head to this shoulder, there is shaft lean on that club. Now, as the club gets shorter, there's more shaft lean because we always line up from the club head to the lead shoulder. And as the ball position, as the ball goes back in the stance, obviously irons are further back, okay, there's going to be more shaft lean. So it's very obvious when you look at a shaft lean of a 7-iron or a 6-iron, you see there's a lot of shaft lean in there, maybe 25 degrees of shaft lean. But on a driver, if you set up properly and you set up in a single plane position, you will see going from the lead shoulder to the club head, it's a straight line. And when you go back to impact, that shaft lean will be, it's not going to say maintain, you're still going to have that shaft lean, or you should through impact, okay? I know, and people think that, they think about the driver and they think about how long it is, they think about ball position, but guys, your hands are still leading through impact, and that's the big key here, and I want to stress that. That's why when I did that single plane position trainer drill tonight, and I said so diligently, I said, working on position 3, elbow in front of the body, hands in the golf ball, shaft matching up with that stick I had laid down. I talked about that again and again and again. Because what happens for most golfers is as they come down, by the time the elbow's in the body, they've already released the club, and now they've squared, now they're from the shoulder to the club head is straight here, but it's prior to impact. Now by the time they get to impact, they've cast the club. So to sit here and do that single plane position trainer drill again and again and again, and work on position 3, work on that elbow in front of that body, work on getting that shoulder down, work on getting that hands in a good position, work on that leverage angle, that trail wrist. If you continually work on that, that's going to help you get that shaft lean with that driver through impact, okay? And guys, that's how these clubs are built to hit. This club was no club. I mean, I'm talking even conventional. No drivers it was built to hit with the club hands being behind it.
You get your hands behind that, you're putting excess loft in this club, you're losing tons of distance. 90% of the time, the club will twist slightly closed. And so what people do is they come across it, club twists closed, it goes left and slices right. That's what happens with the club when your hands fall behind it. But guys, when you lose shaft lean, the biggest things you lose is the way the club is built to hit. That's number one. Number two, compression of the golf ball, which is distance. Okay? And number three, consistency. Because it's really fun. It's interesting. You know, every time we do our schools, we always talk to students and interview them a little bit. You know, what do you want out of your game? And, you know, the number one thing we hear is consistency. And you guys have been to our schools. I always kind of give you guys a hard time when you say consistency, because I always tell you guys, none of you guys really know what consistency means. Because then I sit there and say, okay, what do you mean by consistency? You say, oh, I want to shoot better scores. Well, how are you going to shoot better scores? Well, I mean, I shoot in the 90s right now. Well, why do you shoot in the 90s? Because I miss so many fairways. Well, how many fairways do you miss? Well, I've never really figured it out. I just know I miss fairways. Okay. Well, then you're going off this tangent down, you know, I'm sitting there saying, I ask these questions like, what is consistency for you? Do you guys know that last week when Scotty Scheffler went, or 2 weeks ago now, it's been a couple weeks, when Scotty Scheffler went and won the American Express, he didn't hit half the fairway. Now, these fairways are huge. They're huge. And they're very forgiving. And he missed over half of the fairways. I mean, he was less than 50% off the tee. Was that good? Did he want to improve it? Sure he did. But this guy goes and shoots 20-some under to win a tournament. You know, wins the first PGA event of the year. He misses half the fairways, okay? So how important is it to hit every fairway out there? Well, I mean, we want to hit as many as possible. We want to stay consistent. We don't want to lose golf balls, but what do you mean by consistent, okay? So is maybe, and that's what I'm saying. When I talk about this, when the nuts and bolts comes down to it, if you want to hit more greens, you want to chip better, you want to create more spin in your pitches, you want to be able to get out of bunkers, you want to hit more longer drivers, you want to hit more fairway woods, you better be having shaft lean in every club. If you cast that club, it's going to cause errors in every single one of those departments, every single one of those areas, okay? So when people say, I want more consistency, I'm looking at them saying, you want to learn how to create shaft lean or whatever, okay? You guys follow me in that? So, but yes, back to the question. There is shaft lean on the driver, okay? It's the least amount of shaft lean of every club in your bag, but there is shaft lean on the driver. Let's go to the next question. All right. You talk a lot about Callaway. Why do you not promote other clubs? Well, biggest reason for Callaway, I mean, I've already talked about this tonight, so I don't want to, go over this that much. Number one is their technology is by far the highest. And you guys, you can do the market research if you want. Don't trust me, go do the market research. Go to my website, go to clubs, go down below it, click on Quantum. I've got 4 or 5 engineers discussing all the different clubs, and they can talk about the nuances and the engineering that was put in those clubs. The second thing with Callaway is they are known for being the all-player, the everybody player club. They design clubs not for professionals. I mean, there is clubs designed for professionals at Callaway, okay? They have forged heads, they got little bitty small heads. There is some. But their primary focus, because Ely Callaway did this since the beginning of time with Callaway, is to get the everyday player to have more fun with the game and make the game easier, okay? And that's why Callaway, they've always done this at the beginning of time. So when they're putting data in their AI computer and cranking that data out, most of their data, 99% of their data is data from guys like you, like me, from ladies, guys, young guys, old guys, everybody. Guys that can't break 100, the guys that can't break 120, guys that shoot in the 80s. They're putting all players' data in there, and that's the clubs are designing it for. The last thing on Callaway is just the quality of the product. And you guys want to see the difference in that? You can guys go to Callaway's website and look like you're going to buy a club, and go look at all the shaft selections you can go in there. They probably have 150 different shafts you can pick for different clubs. Go to other clubs now and try and see if you can do the same thing. Okay? You can't. They have depleted it dramatically to save money. Callaway doesn't do this. And guys, I put shafts in the clubs that are the best shaft for you that fits that club. So I'm talking to the engineer saying, okay, if I'm going to build a Quantum Max for this gentleman who swings it, it's 90 miles an hour, or hits a 6-iron 150 yards, and he's a 78-year-old guy, and he's not blah blah blah, whatever it is, okay? And the engineer saying this is the shaft I'd recommend every time for him, because that's what the shaft was designed for that club head. And so then I get a shaft that fits you for length, for weight, for flex, that's designed for that club, and I can upgrade it at no cost. Man, we're golden. And that's what we can do. So why do I choose them? I get higher quality product. It's back to the umpteenth degree. You guys get it earlier. It's the highest technology in the industry. I haven't always done Callaway. I've done a lot of other companies. I was sponsored by Titleist. I worked with TaylorMade. I worked with Cobra. There's a lot of companies I worked with over the years. Right now, Callaway's just running the game, okay? And it's an amazing product. You can always email me. Let me know. I'll take care of whatever you need. We'll talk about it, okay? Next, we have another question? Is it okay? Okay. Guys, I'm going to throw this out tonight, and then we'll kind of end it. What is Grays Golf doing right now? I'm going to tell you guys right now. I know it's the middle of the winter. I know we're in February. I know things are rocking this time of year. You know, like for some cold, some warm. I try to get down to Florida, Phoenix when I can, get in that warm weather. But if you're doing indoor training, I can't stress enough. Hopefully you guys are following with the Fast Forward training program right now. It's our number one, I'm not going to say number one selling program, but it is. But it's our number one most popular program we do at Grays Golf. No doubt about it. Is our Fast Forward program. We have hundreds and hundreds of people in there. If you doubt it, just come in on a Friday webinar and you'll see everybody having an open discussion. The Zoom sessions. The last Friday Zoom session I did was an hour and a half Zoom session, and we cut it off an hour and a half because all the questions that came in. It was amazing. Live Zoom session that was going on over the Fast Forward program. If you've got questions on that, if you're not involved with that, if you're interested in that, and guys, you can get in right now. You can get in. We've still got a couple more months. We're going through this. Get in now. You can email me at timg@graysgolf.com. We'll talk about it, okay? Second thing, clubs. I can't stress enough. If you're interested in clubs and I don't care if you've got old Cobras, old TaylorMades, you got some Cleveland sitting in the closet, whatever it is. Guys, you can trade in all major manufacturers. You got some Exios. You got some Tour Edges. I don't know what you got. You can trade them in towards some new product. We can get you bonuses on those trade-ins. Nobody else does that. Try to find it somewhere else. Nobody else does that, and I can get you introductory rates in the new product, okay? Get in now. I can't stress enough. Get in as fast as possible in that, okay? And then I will work with you to make sure that club's fit for you perfect. Now, the special for tonight, and this is what the special was tonight because we talked about during the program, single plane position trainer, you can get 25% off. It's great savings. Or the Excalibur, you can get 25% off, okay? Look at the link on the screen. Look at the link below, okay? If you have problems with that, you can always email me. I'll get you that link. Single Plane Academy members, all of you all. And there's thousands of you guys out there. If you're watching this program and you're interested in any of those, you can either wait till Thursday night and get the link. Chris will send you the link, email you the link, or you can email me and I'll send you the link early. It's up to you guys, okay? You may want to do that with the Excalibur because I think those will probably sell it pretty fast. So guys, members are getting 40% off of it, okay? So general public, 25% off, members 40% off. If you guys are interested about anything with us, interested about becoming a member, looking at some schools, thinking about the Fast Forward program, clubs, I'm going to give you, you can always call us. You can call 866-377-2316, or you can always email me at timg@graysgolf.com. I'll get you to the right person. I'll make sure they follow up with you. I can guarantee you that, okay? Always you can do that. Guys, hopefully you guys are getting through this cold weather this year. Hopefully you guys, it's going to end here soon. We got another few weeks of it and we'll come out the other end. But we can do some great indoor training. We can be working on that indoor training, and when we come out in the spring, we can get ahead of the game. So guys, I want to thank you for joining me tonight. See you guys real soon. Talk to you guys real soon.